Okay, so this took a lot more finagling than I thought I was going to, but I got it working. So I got in the animation, got in the new skeleton, and everything is much nicer, less pulling and pinching and all that stupid stuff. It still gets caught in some things, but I left the other two animations, just because. They never really had the pinching problem, and also there's not really much I want to really like fix with them. And one of them I'm even thinking of taking out completely anyways. But yeah, so that's working. It took a lot more finagling than it needed to. And that has a lot to do with me not setting up Maya correctly to work in Unreal. But hey, it's fine. But yeah, no more pinching and pulling. But for the animation is a lot more fluid. Big fan that the his butt doesn't really move, but you know, if I really wanted to, I could fix that, but I'm not going to. I think it's fine. My main concern was all the pinching and pulling that was happening, and that was due to really poorly weights. But the nice thing is, once you fix just the skeleton, because I could have just fixed the skeleton and then left the old animation, but I did want to update the walking one. The walking one a little annoyed me a little bit. It was felt very stiff. There's not a whole lot different. Whoops, wrong monster. There's not a whole lot different. Well, once you update the base skeleton, which is this, this should be, yeah, so once you update all this, and all the weights painted and all that kind of stuff, it plays off all these, for all these, because all these use that, that skeleton. So there's less jiggling. I should really go fix that, but I'm thinking about removing this altogether anyways. Where's just the idle? So the idle also, no more pinching and pulling. That was happening because, but like I said before, I wasn't gonna really. I mean, yeah, there's still a little bit of concern areas, but I don't think you'll be able to really hold on. Just like doing. Yeah, so this could technically be, but you'll probably see it from like these angles. Like finding an angle where you will probably see that is really hard. And it's such a small area and a small detail that I'm not that worried about versus like his whole elbow, like having one vertex shoot off for no apparent reason. Yeah, it took a little bit of finagling, and I can. So this is not going to make a whole lot of sense to some people. So in try to make this make sense. Okay, that's what's over. All right, there. So you'll notice he is straight. That's because in Maya, top down is Z. Now that might sound very confusing. So it's actually Y that's normally default. So if I things, no, window, settings and preferences. If you hit settings, so you can set your up axis to Z, he's perfectly flat. If we do, or if we do Y, he's perfectly flat because Y is default in Maya. If we do Z, he's up. And this is actually extremely important because Z is the top down thingy. This for a while, and all my stuff always comes in. If you ever take a look at it, it always comes in, or tends to come in, turned or tilted or that kind of stuff, and that's because it's trying to map it to it. And for the longest time, I never looked to figure out. I just always rotated them because I didn't care. It's very important that this is imported correctly, otherwise the animation too far to the right or to the left or just completely upside down in certain scenarios. That's why I took a lot of finagling. So to remember that was a thing until I found some form that reminded me. And once I did that, I do. So yeah, that's always important to take into consideration if you're ever working in Unreal and you're using for actually other one, because I believe Blender also uses Y as the top. I think it's just Unreal that really uses, or maybe Unity does. But yeah, so where they consider up and down and to orient it correctly. I don't think anyone ever does X. I think X is like Z space. It's usually Z or Y. So yeah, so Maya normally does, let me fix that. Does Y. This is also where you can set the working units, so inches and all that kind of stuff if your perhaps needs that. And if you're more curious about that, I don't know, explain that another thing. I'll explain it really quickly just because I don't know. So if we were to actually map this to a real life, each block is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Just to throw that into perspective, that this grid, since it's in centimeters, is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter. Cool, and you can readjust the units. To other things. So if we, I don't know why I'm talking about this. There's not much. Sometimes you gotta ad lib. So if we do inches, you'll notice it got smaller. Now these squares are 1 inch by 1 inch. And if we do yards, even tinier. If you ever need to adjust any of that kind of stuff, the defaults are typically, and then you can play around with all these. Don't worry about making things correct sizes, because I normally have the ability to just scale up and scale down. Like made in real life, for instance. Yeah. Adjusting those units would be very important. And that's where those are. I just don't work with them a lot, so I don't remember they exist. Remember that they exist, if that makes any sense. But yeah, so tomorrow I'm start updating the art assets. I think I'm gonna start with the outside of the building, making a proper office building, not the box I have. The box I have made is bullshit, if you catch my drift. And then accordingly. But until then, I will catch you guys later.